Fastest car on track today, nor the championship favourites, but there is no doubt the story of this pre-season is becoming Ferrari. A remarkably innovative new rear wing solution they unveiled today, which is said to have major straight line speed advantages, in addition to what has become very clear is the real ace up Ferrari's sleeve, and that is their ability off the line. Twice today, Lewis Hamilton went from nowhere to leading the virtual Grand Prix, especially at the end of the day, going from P9 to first by the time they got to the first corner. If this is anything to go by, the Formula 1 news, the final week of testing is underway and a raft of storylines emerging. Ferrari with a shocking new device they've installed on the rear of their car that apparently no other team will be able to copy, but is worth at least 2/10 worth of performance in the loophole that they have found.
Stunned. That's exactly what the Formula 1 paddock was when Ferrari and Lewis Hamilton left their rivals speechless with a radical change to Hamilton's car in testing. Lewis didn't just shock the competition,
like Formula E on steroids.
He blew past Max Verstappen with the fastest test time of the 2026 season, leaving Max frustrated and fuming, calling the new F1 cars, quote, Formula E on steroids. The story everyone in F1 is talking about. Ferrari's radical innovation, Hamilton's blazing pace, Verstappen's frustration, and what this all means heading into the 2026 season. The four-time world champion has made absolutely no secret of how he feels about the new 2026 cars. On the Up to Speed podcast alongside former Red Bull driver David Coulthard and pundit Naomi Schiff, Verstappen was asked point-blank, out of all the F1 eras he's raced in, was 2026 his favourite? He laughed, and then he said, I would say least favourite. And the reason? One word: management. In Verstappen's own words, the word that you can use for the whole year will be management. Now, here's the thing. The 2026 cars come with brand new hybrid power units featuring massively increased electrical power. That means drivers will constantly need to manage their battery charge, lifting and coasting into corners, saving energy, especially in qualifying. The fear: slower lap times, less pure, raw racing. For Max Verstappen, a driver who lives to push every single corner to the absolute limit, this is basically his nightmare. He didn't stop there either. He went ahead and dropped the line that broke the internet. It's not pure Formula 1. If anything, it's more like Formula E on steroids. Brutal, honest, vintage Max. But here's the twist. While Max was venting, Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari were cooking up something in the garage that would make everyone forget the complaints, at least for a day. Now this is where it gets seriously interesting. When Ferrari rolled out their SF26 for the second pre-season test in Bahrain, rivals immediately noticed something different. Something that wasn't on the car during the first Bahrain test just a week earlier. At the rear of the car, a small but radical wing element jutting out beyond the exhaust pipe. Ferrari are calling it the FTM internally, and in theory, it uses the hot air blasted out of the exhaust to push the car down into the track floor, generating extra downforce. Why does that matter? Because the 2026 cars already have dramatically less downforce than the previous generation. So any team that can claw back downforce through clever engineering has a huge advantage. Now, the rules say aerodynamic parts in that area cannot extend more than 60 millimeters beyond the axle. So how did Ferrari do it? They pushed the differential as far back as physically possible, moving the entire reference point rearward, making the wing legal under the letter of the regulations. It's clever, it's bold, and it sent rivals scrambling to their engineering departments immediately. Ferrari found a loophole, and if it delivers the downforce they're hoping for, it will not be easy for anyone to copy quickly. Max Verstappen, who says the cars aren't fun to drive, might be about to find out they're also not fun to race against. Especially when Ferrari has an upgrade, he doesn't. And then came Lewis Hamilton. After Charles Leclerc completed the morning session, Hamilton climbed into the SF26 for the afternoon and immediately reminded everyone exactly who he is. Hamilton clocked the second fastest time overall during the session and set the quickest pace in the first race simulation of the entire pre-season test. The paddock took notice, and F1 analyst Anthony Davidson, a man not easily impressed, said that Hamilton finally looked, quote, at home in the Ferrari. Think about what that means. In 2025, Hamilton's first year at Ferrari, he struggled. No podiums, uncharacteristic errors, a painful spin in final Abu Dhabi practice. Questions were being asked about whether the seven-time champion had lost his edge. But Davidson saw something completely different in Bahrain. He noted that Hamilton was pushing the SF26 right to its absolute limit, and crucially, the car was responding predictably. Hamilton's aggressive driving style, which never quite clicked with last year's Ferrari, suddenly looked perfectly matched to the 2026 machine. Why? Because Hamilton spent 8 to 10 months working on this car in the simulator over the winter. In his own words, "A bit of my DNA is within it, so I'm more connected to this one for sure," and it showed. Williams driver Alex Albon also pointed out that Hamilton's naturally aggressive style, carrying high corner speed, attacking braking zones, could be exactly what the 2026 regulations reward, especially with the car's reduced weight compared to previous years. Max Verstappen called 2026 Formula E on steroids. Lewis Hamilton responded by posting the fastest race sim time of the test. The message from Ferrari: "We're here." Beyond the lap times and the technical upgrades, what's been equally striking is the energy Lewis Hamilton is bringing into 2026. Speaking during the Bahrain test, Hamilton was remarkably candid about where his head is heading into this season. He described this as the best place I've been in for a long time, personally and professionally. He spoke about rebuilding over the winter, getting his body right, his mind right, rearranging things within his personal team, and arriving at pre-season testing feeling genuinely refreshed. He also addressed his relationship with Ferrari, now entering year 2. In his words, everything is much more settled. The ins and outs of the working relationship. There's also been a change behind the scenes. Race engineer Riccardo Adami has moved to a role within Ferrari's driver academy, meaning Hamilton will work with a new engineer in 2026. For some drivers, that kind of disruption mid-career would be unsettling. For Hamilton, it appears to be another reset, another opportunity to build something fresh, and his belief in Ferrari, unshaken. My belief in the team is still absolutely the same. 100% faith in what they're capable of. That's why I joined. This is not a driver going through the motions. This is Lewis Hamilton, 41 years old, arriving at what could be one of the most important seasons of his career and looking more dangerous than he has in years. So let's zoom out for a second and ask, what does all of this tell us about 2026? We have Max Verstappen, the dominant force of the last 4 years, openly unhappy with the new formula. He says it's his least favorite era. He says it's management, not racing. And yes, he promises to give it everything anyway, because that's just who he is. But the frustration is real, and frustration can be a dangerous thing at the highest level. On the other side, you have Lewis Hamilton, widely written off after a difficult 2025, arriving with a radical new car, a reinvented mindset, a technical trick that stunned the paddock, and the fastest race simulation pace of the test. Lando Norris, the reigning champion, has called the new cars a lot of fun. Ferrari look fast and innovative, and the entire grid is essentially starting from zero with these new regulations, which historically has always been the great equalizer in Formula One.
More positivity surrounding Ferrari, yet more upgrades they're bringing to their car this week, in addition to confirmation that they were indeed using the new Shell biofuel in their very successful first Bahrain test just a few days ago. Lots of questions surrounding all the teams as to what fuels they're really running their engines on. We believe in Barcelona, largely a hybrid 2025 version, but now Ferrari's solid performance, and it's only going to get better according to rumours, is being run as we will see things in Melbourne. Hannah left the station already. The Ferrari hype train is well and truly underway. Lots of sources suggesting that indeed the Scuderia might well be the team to beat and could hold a significant advantage over the other teams when it comes to the start procedure, a procedure that other teams, especially McLaren, want changed as soon as possible, but Ferrari are very much so voting against the motion.
Lewis Hamilton just walked into the Bahrain International Circuit, got inside a Ferrari and reminded every single team, every single fan and every single doubter on this planet exactly who he is. The man put down the fastest race simulation of the entire first Bahrain preseason test. Faster than Oscar Piastri, faster than Kimi Antonelli, faster than every single driver on that grid.
Hamilton! 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 Lewis Hamilton!
No warm-up, no excuses, no transition period. Lewis Hamilton in a Ferrari on a race simulation in February, and he was the quickest man out there. McLaren confirmed it. Mercedes knew it. The entire paddock felt it. The GOAT is not retiring. The GOAT is not fading. The GOAT is coming for an 8th World Championship. And right now, nobody has an answer for him. This is the full breakdown. Everything you need to know. Let's go. Let's be direct about what happened. No padding, no nonsense, just the facts. Lewis Hamilton's race simulation on the final day of the first Bahrain test was, according to every credible source in that paddock, the single fastest race run of the entire test session. Not just among Ferrari drivers, not just among the top teams, the fastest, full stop. McLaren team principal Andrea Stella, the man in charge of the defending world champions, stood in front of the media and confirmed it himself. He said Hamilton and Antonelli were quicker than Oscar Piastri in the race simulation. He then said Ferrari and Mercedes look like the two teams ready from a performance standpoint heading into Melbourne. That is the reigning world champions team boss telling you Ferrari are ahead of his own car on race pace. And on top of that, Sky Sports F1's Ted Kravitz confirmed the picture even further. He said Ferrari ended the Bahrain test as the quickest team on race simulations. Charles Leclerc was quick on Thursday. Lewis Hamilton was quicker on Friday. And Lewis's run was on a more rubbered-in track, better conditions. But at the same time of day, the pace was real. Now here is the number that makes all of this even more extraordinary. Ferrari completed those race simulations, those long runs, all of that testing, 4,000 kilometers in total, on a single power unit. One engine, 0 failures, 0 mechanical issues, 0 drama. To give that context, teams get roughly 4 power units for a 24-race season. Ferrari just put one through approximately 15 race distances in pre-season testing, and it did not miss a beat. That is not just fast, that is fast and bulletproof. And in Formula 1, that combination is the most dangerous thing you can face. Here is why this is different from every other time Ferrari looked good in February. The upgrade Ferrari brought to the second half of the first Bahrain test. New front wing, new floor, new diffuser. Worked immediately. The paddock noticed. Rivals noticed. And the word going around from engineers and journalists who watched it closely was simple. The car looks transformed. Then there is the fuel. Ferrari confirmed they ran the new Shell biofuel, the actual 2026 spec fuel, during the first Bahrain test. They put it in the car. The car ran perfectly. No issues with the power unit, no inconsistency problems. For a biofuel that is made from natural feedstocks and waste products, which can by nature be slightly variable between batches, the fact that Ferrari had 0 problems running it for 4,000 kilometers is a significant tick in the box. That is a very dangerous place for them to be in the hands of Lewis Hamilton. Now this segment is where Ferrari's preparation goes from impressive to genuinely remarkable. Under the 2026 regulations, the MGU-H is gone. That is the motor generator unit that used to sit on the turbocharger and electrically spool it up. Without it, turbo lag is back. And it is back badly. It now takes approximately 15 seconds to bring these new turbos to proper race-ready pressure before a start. During a group practice start in Bahrain, we saw exactly what that means in reality. Some cars launched, 4 cars sat on the grid, still, unable to go. The Williams eventually got moving, others sat there longer. and every person watching knew immediately this is going to cause accidents in real races. McLaren's Andrea Stella has been pushing the FIA hard, change the starting procedure, extend the preparation window, reduce the danger. Ferrari said no. Ferrari's position is ice cold and completely fair. We told you this was coming. You did not listen. We built a solution. Now you want the rules changed because we are ahead? No. That is Ferrari winning the first political battle of the 2026 season, and it sets the tone for everything that follows. While Ferrari and Hamilton are setting the pace, here is the honest picture of everyone else. Red Bull are the straight-line speed leaders. Max Verstappen hit 344 kilometers per hour in Bahrain. Nobody else is at that level. Their Ford-backed power unit has raw power that nobody is matching on the straights. But on race simulations, questions remain, and they are holding a significant aero upgrade back for Melbourne. How much are they sandbagging? That is the question that nobody can answer right now. Aston Martin are in a genuine crisis. Reports throughout the paddock suggest the AMR26 is 40 kilograms overweight. At 10 kilos, costing roughly 3/10 per lap, that is potentially 1.5 seconds of dead weight. Their gearbox cannot handle the Honda engine at full power. Run it too hard and the gears fail. Lawrence Stroll is reportedly in a major conflict with Honda over this. Adrian Newey has identified the aerodynamic problem and has a solution, but they are targeting the second half of the season for a proper B-spec car. Right now, they are possibly the slowest team on the grid. Williams are also overweight, estimated at costing them 7/10 per lap. Cadillac are a new constructor just trying to complete clean sessions and learn. Of the midfield, Haas look the most competitive based on telemetry data. Worth watching. Let's be direct about this too. But here is the thing about great champions. They do not quit when it gets hard. They learn, they adapt, they build. And now that machine is here, and it is fast. And Lewis Hamilton is the quickest driver in it. Jenson Button, Hamilton's teammate at McLaren for 3 seasons, a world champion himself, said it plainly. This is the perfect opportunity for him to turn it around. If it doesn't work this year, I don't know if it is going to work again. Lewis knows that. He is 41 years old. He has 7 world championships. And he knows that 2026 might be his last genuine shot at number 8. That is not pressure. That is motivation. And a motivated Lewis Hamilton, in a fast and reliable Ferrari with a race engineering relationship he has built from the ground up and an upgrade program that is working. That is the most dangerous combination in Formula One right now. But right now, in 2026, the lap times are what matter. And the lap times say Lewis Hamilton is ready. The final preseason test runs February 18th to 20th in Bahrain. Full broadcast coverage, dawn to dusk. Then the season begins. Melbourne, March 8th, the Australian Grand Prix. That is where the real answers come. But based on everything we have seen already, the picture is clear. This is not February optimism. This is evidence. The greatest of all time is in the fastest car. And 2026 is about to show the entire world exactly what that means. Drop your prediction in the comments right now. Does Lewis Hamilton win the 2026 championship? Does he get that 8th title? Does he prove every single doubter wrong one final time? Like the video if you want to see it happen. Subscribe if you are new, and I will see you for full coverage of the final test starting Wednesday.
Lewis Hamilton just dropped a nuclear bombshell on retirement rumors, silencing critics with a defiant declaration about his Ferrari future. After a disastrous start to the 2025 season that has triggered intense speculation about an early exit, Hamilton has fired back with words that have sent shockwaves through the paddock. In a rare public appearance that has set social media ablaze, Hamilton confronted the mounting pressure head-on, with a message that leaves absolutely no room for interpretation. Please keep your fingers crossed. I'm not going to give up. We're going to keep getting better. Still we rise, right? Lewis Hamilton. These explosive comments appear to be a direct shot at former F1 driver Ralf Schumacher, who recently suggested that Hamilton might walk away from his Ferrari dream at the end of this season if his shocking performance decline continues. He's coming in second. Does this work better for what you're looking for? The intro is now more dramatic and attention-grabbing, using phrases like nuclear bombshell, shocking statements, sent shockwaves, and positioning the story as more confrontational.